welcome today to the show. Today we have with us Mr. Stephon Ferguson. He is a Dr. Martin Luther King reenactor. He is licensed by the state of Georgia to do his reenactments. Hello, Mr. Ferguson. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Ferguson, can you tell us a little about yourself? Tell us where you're originally from.
Okay, well, I was born in New York, Albany, New York, and I moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina when I was only 9 months old. And so I'm from Fayetteville. Fayetteville, North Carolina is my native. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia in 2011. I'm licensed by the King Estate, Intellectual Properties Management, and not the King family themselves.
Wow. Yes. What does what you do detail?
What does it detail?
Yes, sir.
Well, I do a lot of things, but as it relates to Martin Luther King Jr., the details of it behind what I do, it's so many things, but I guess I would say the purpose of it is to reinvigorate the dream or that Martin Luther King Jr. had. Many people don't know Martin Luther King Jr. They know of him, they've heard his speech, I Have a Dream, or The Mountaintop, or a few others, but they really don't know who the man was. So one of my jobs is to help to reinvigorate not only the dream, but to educate people on the life and the legacy of Dr. King and his philosophy of nonviolence and civil disobedience and love and peace and unity. So that's what my job is, my duties is. It's a calling. It's a calling that God has given me. And I use that to bless people and to educate them on who Dr. King really was.
When did you start actually being a Dr. King reenactor?
Well, I started performing as Dr. King in 2003 was my first public performance, and that was for a groundbreaking ceremony in North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina, and they broke ground for the Martin Luther King Jr. Park there, and I delivered the I Have a Dream speech at the groundbreaking, and that was in 2003. So that was my first public appearance. I had been working with Dr. King and studying him, researching him, maybe a year prior to that. But that was my first public appearance in 2003. So I've been performing as Dr. King for the past 12, 13 years.
Wow, that's a long time. Wow. What are some of the things that inspire you, or whom inspires what you do? And I have a feeling I know one of them.
So, well, it is Dr. King. As far as who inspires me, you mean to do Dr. King?
Yes.
Well, Dr. King himself, really the spirit of Dr. King. And then when you look at all of the things that are transpiring now, all of the things that are happening in this world, in this nation, in our communities right here in Atlanta, Georgia, you see the need for nonviolence and the need for wanting to invigorate or bring those words back that Martin Luther King Jr. spoke. And God has given me the ability to sound like Dr. King. So to be able to bring Dr. King back in a sense, it's a tremendous honor, and I'm just, it's a calling. And so, but my strength comes from God first. I'm first and foremost, I'm a minister of the gospel, an ordained minister. And so my work, it ties really in with who Dr. King was, because he was first and foremost a minister of the gospel. And if we forget that piece of who Dr. King was, and the piece that he was first and foremost a minister of the gospel, even though he did fight for justice, and but we have to, the whole basis of who he was, his philosophy, was based on the Word of God. The New Testament and salvation and love and peace. And Jesus even said, this is how people will know that you're a part of me, if you show love one for another.
What obstacles have you faced doing what you do, and how did you overcome them?
Well, certainly there were obstacles. First, I guess, when people hear you sounding or speaking like Dr. King, particularly people who knew him. Initially, I would think they would be the ones who would really kind of support it, and but I was wrong. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that they don't because I guess because they knew who Dr. King was and they knew him personally, it does something for them, or it does something to them, or does something when I speak those words. And I've heard it from different people. And I'm not saying those are obstacles, but there are obstacles because you want to go in the calling. But anytime you go in the calling that you're called for, you're going to have obstacles. Overcoming those obstacles, the way I do that is by knowing who I was called by. And I know I was called by God, and He is the one who, so if it doesn't happen, it wasn't meant to happen.
Mr. Ferguson, what was one of your greatest experiences that you've had since you've been doing what you do?
Man, I have had some absolutely wonderful experiences. You know, a friend of mine told me one day, we were just talking, and she said, "Man, you're living your dream." And I thought about it, and I said, I am living my dream. I never really thought about it from that concept, because I've always dreamed of working in Dr. King's church and being able to do things and being able to travel and speak as Dr. King and teach and educate. And I'm actually doing that now. So I'm actually living the dream. But one experience that comes to mind, there are many, because God has placed me in so many areas of life, and I'm actually writing a book, so buy the book when it comes out. Hopefully it'll be out next year. One of the experiences was I was in Montgomery, Alabama. As we know, Montgomery, Alabama was the only place that Martin Luther King Jr. actually was the senior pastor of a church. He co-pastored Ebenezer Baptist Church with his father, but there was only one church that he served as the senior pastor, and that was Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. In fact, they named their youngest son after the church, Dexter. And so one day I was in Montgomery, Alabama. I was on a tour. We were coming from Raleigh, North Carolina. And we took a tour from Raleigh, beginning in Atlanta and ending in Memphis, Tennessee. And we took the whole trail of at least 14 different historical points between there. Places where Dr. King was: 16th Street Baptist Church, Montgomery, Alabama, Selma, Alabama, Brown Chapel, AME. A lot of the churches we ended in Memphis. So I spoke pretty much at most of the locations that we stopped at. I've actually done at least 5 tours since then. So it was the pastor of the church, Pastor Thurman, who is no longer the pastor today. But he said, "I'm the pastor of the church." And I was like, "Oh, wonderful." So I began to tell him about my work with Dr. King, and I actually did a little piece of Dr. King. And he invited me into the church.
Wow.
And in the basement, there are a whole lot of different murals on the walls, and it's very powerful. So I stepped in, and the only people there were he and his ministers.
Okay.
And he asked me to do a little piece of Dr. King. He said, "Do that, some of the King that you did outside." And I did it for the ministers. And he said, "Do me a favor. Go up on the pulpit."
Wow.
And do one of King's speeches. Nobody in the sanctuary at all.
Yes.
The only person in that sanctuary was me behind that pulpit and the guy who was videotaping. And we were like blown away, because I'm sitting there like, and it just happened to be the 39th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination.
That was predestined.
It was the April the 4th, April 4th, 2007. I'll never forget it. That was the 39th anniversary of King's assassination, and I delivered a speech right from that pulpit.
Wow.
And I'm in jeans.
Yes.
And a t-shirt, and I'm thinking, but he asked me to do it. Let me do it. Let me be obedient.
Yes.
It was just, those are one of many experiences that I've had along the journey. Just another experience, and I won't go through it, but one of the experiences was I actually performed the eulogy that Martin Luther King Jr. gave for the girls that were killed in 16th Street Baptist Church. I actually gave that eulogy, that same eulogy, or recreated it in 16th Street Baptist Church with members of the children, of the 4 girls' family in the audience.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So family members of the girls were in the audience, and I'm doing this piece. It was just unbelievable.
Gosh, that is such a powerful experience, both of those experiences. Yes, sir, Mr. Ferguson, where would you like to go concerning what you do, what you see yourself doing next in the future?
Well, one of my main things that I would love to do is to play Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so Mr. Steven Spielberg, Susan DePaz, all the ones who are involved in the movie that's coming up, that's going to be portraying the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., where they can use the actual words, because Spielberg's the only one who has the permission to use the actual words. So that's the ultimate goal. I guess it's the ultimate goal for anyone who portrays somebody, is to play them in a movie at some point. One of the number one questions, 2 of the questions that I always get when I perform at Ebenezer Baptist Church,
yes,
Dr. King's church, is, did you audition for Selma? And the other one is, does Spielberg know about you?
Wow.
Those are like 2 top questions. It's like, okay, we really need to see you in a movie or something.
Yes.
But I'm honored that they would even think in that way. But certainly that is a, who knows? It may happen, it may not, but that is definitely a dream that would come true, is to portray King in a movie. So I've been working very diligently to make that happen. I've been taking acting classes. I've got my theater degree. I'm working on my film degree, which will be complete next semester. And just working very hard to try to do what is necessary to get there. But overall, I would love to travel, which I do now,
okay,
but take it to another level, and to really travel and perform as King, but more importantly, to educate people on the life of Dr. King.
Okay, everyone, we are actually going to hear one of his reenactments.
I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up without the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My 4 little children one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed in all flesh. shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and if America's to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening alligators of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the Carthaceous slopes of California. Not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Can you leave with the audience some encouraging information?
Some encouraging information. From Dr. King's perspective, well, that would be from my perspective too.
Yeah, from your perspective or his, or however you want to do it.
Encouraging information. I would just encourage people to, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter the situation, the issue, the problem, the condition, the circumstance, regardless of what it is that you're dealing with, understand that there is someone greater. There is someone who can allow you to, even in the middle of your storms, maintain an inner calm. And that's the power that God gives us. Trust in God and allow Him to use you in a way, because we all have gifts. I just happen to be talking about one of the gifts God has given me and a calling, but we all have gifts. So take your gift, define it, refine it, and serve it to the world, because it's not about you. It's about the mission, the complete mission of the kingdom. So be encouraged. God bless you, and heaven smile upon you.
So, Mr. Ferguson, can you leave with us links to your social media or contact information?
Yes, you can contact me. The best place to go is thedreamlives.com. TheDreamLives, thedreamlives.com. Now, my email address is thedreamlives.com@gmail.com. Or you can just send it to StephonFerguson@yahoo.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, only thing I'm probably not on is Snapchat. My daughter told me I'm too old to be on Snapchat.
Mr. Ferguson, thank you so much for the encouragement to the audience, and thank you so much for doing this interview and just being on the show. And everyone, please tune in next time for the next show, and thanks for viewing. Enjoy.